Welcome back, you guys. My name is Tom. I'm the founder of NeuroArkitect. You are watching this channel because you are interested in optimizing your mind, your body, and your soul. Guys, today I want to talk about emotional mastery. First of all, what are emotions, right? I like to think of emotions as information. And in many ways, it really is just that. Something happens in our environment. And that could be external, it could also be internal, right? We could be thinking about something, we can be remembering something. It could also just be lurking inside the subconscious mind. And suddenly we experience a rush of emotion. Now, of course, emotions have a spectrum. It could be positive, negative, joyful, absolutely devastating, right? We could be feeling elated or we could be stressed out of our minds. But being in an emotional state, we are not necessarily the most, well, effective, right? Very often, if you get stuck in an emotion and you try to take action from that emotional place, very often that action is not the correct action for that situation. So let's actually make this a little more practical now, right? Let's say you are fearful. I recently made a video about this, but let's just rehash this real quick for 1 second. Let's say you are in the state of fear. Now, of course, if there's a car barreling down the street, you're in fight or flight. Yeah, that's a great place to be. Allow the body to take over and you get out of the way, right? Suppose you're walking down, it's late, you're next to an alley, you feel fear. That is an appropriate response. Okay, but what I'm talking about here is more so from a place of imagined fear, or a place of a fear that's rooted in something much deeper in subconscious. Let's say me, right? Growing up, didn't have the highest self-esteem, didn't have the most, I didn't have the highest opinion of myself, right? And that, of course, led me to feel like I was just not worthy of love, not ever gonna get the people or the things that I wanted. I gotta earn it. I gotta get that validation externally, and that led to a very compulsive, perfectionistic approach towards everything I did, whether that was sports, school. I made myself sick from stress, just trying to constantly get straight A's, right? Because that was how I showed my worth. That's how I showed that part of myself, and got that validation. Same with going to the gym. Same with, adopting quote unquote healthy eating habits and adopting a lifestyle where I was intermittent fasting and doing all these different things. But it was all rooted in this fear of not being enough, in this fear of, if I don't do X, if I don't look a certain way, act a certain way, if I don't get these grades, if I don't have that job or career, which I'm sure so many people watching can relate to, I'm not going to be accepted. Well, that's coming from a place of fear, and actions taken from a place of fear, of course, don't lead to very good results. In fact, in my case, it led to sickness, illness, and absolute complete burnout, which on the flip side was also a blessing because it led me down so many different rabbit holes that eventually I ended up where I am right here and right now. Story for another day. But learning how to actually, in a lot of situations, say we're feeling a little anxious about an upcoming test, a presentation, a job interview, whatever that looks like, right? And we're experiencing in the present moment. We notice the emotion arise. The worst thing we can do is tell that emotion it's not valid. I shouldn't be feeling this. I gotta get rid of this. This isn't a good thing to be experiencing. No, actually, that is just information that's traveling through you, through your body, through your mind. And so many of you have heard me say this: emotion being energy, emotion. You emote. It moves. And if we arrest the movement of that emotion, it's going to lodge itself somewhere. And years of suppressed and repressed emotion eventually also manifests itself as physical illness, right? We don't want that. No, but really, truly, if we just allow emotions to pass through us, we take the information in, we get present, we are able to articulate what the emotion is. We're able to maybe even put a label on the emotion. Oh, look, I'm experiencing X, right? And being careful not to say I am anxious, angry, happy, joyful, not am. You are never identified with the emotional state. You are you, and you are the one experiencing the emotion. So do never, ever, ever, ever say, I am angry, because you, my friend, are not anger. And you are not frustration. So don't identify with that. But you are experiencing it. So becoming aware of the experience, recognizing that you're the one simply having an experience of a particular state of being, right? Of a particular emotion. Okay, great. That's step one, right? Learn to be present with what you're experiencing. Learn to assess what that experience is. Oh, look, Tom's feeling anxious. Okay, good. This feeling, this buzzing in my chest, that's anxiety, because you'll also feel these emotions inside the body. And I want you to pay attention to whether or not it's constriction, if it's again what I just described, a feeling of buzziness or butterflies in your belly, right? Or even if you're feeling happy and ecstatic and joyful, what does that feel like? It's elating, right? It's elating. It's, you feel light, you feel happy, you feel enthused and motivated. Just learning how to also pay attention what it actually feels like inside the body. That is so key. That is so important. Recognize it, become aware of it, label it. Recognize that you are simply having an experience in the present moment. And allow that experience to play itself out and unfold. Now, of course, if it's extreme, and now say it's someone who is actually suffering from PTSD and other very extreme emotional states and conditions, yes, of course, you're going to need additional practices. You're going to need additional ways to actually really ground and center yourself in that moment. And actually, what really helps universally is, again, grounding yourself in the present moment. And what I mean by that is you want to take a look around and just pay attention to the sights. Find a few things that you can actually just label that you're seeing. Pay attention to what you're hearing. Again, get grounded in the present moment. Pay attention to what you're hearing. Try to find a handful of things that you can pick up on. Pay attention to scents, taste in the mouth, things that you can also physically touch around you. Again, just getting centered and getting grounded. Now, breath work also plays a role. Paying attention to your breath. Am I breathing shallow and into my chest? That's actually going to perpetuate a state of fight or flight, state of anxiety, state of stress. Actually learning to then breathe into the belly. Ideally, what I encourage a lot of my clients is just to engage in some coherence breathing, where you're inhaling and exhaling for a count of 5, visualizing the breath flowing into and out from the center of the chest. Right, that really helps balance and regulate the nervous system. And now, again, allowing the emotion to pass through you, because you don't, again, want to be taking action from that state, because you are not taking a rational and logical action. It is pure emotion, and very often that shuts off a lot of our higher cognitive faculties right here in the frontal lobes and the prefrontal cortex. So we want to be able to utilize that, and we actually want to have a balanced action taken from a place of balanced emotion and rational thinking. Right? You never want to get too caught up in either one, but balance is where the magic is at. So feeling the emotion, allowing it to express itself through you, and really giving yourself a solid few minutes, if you can, sit down and just be with that emotion, even if it's uncomfortable, because as long as it can get through you, you are no longer suppressing or repressing it. You are actually allowing it to be expressed. And now you are given more freedom now, and actually more resources in the brain and the body to take action after the fact, after the emotion has passed through, or really just, come down in intensity. You now have more resources to pull from, and those resources, and you actually have the entire organism, the entire brain, the entire nervous system now working in greater concert. so that the correct action is able to unfold from that, right? And we want to take right action, not action for the sake of action. Now, sometimes, of course, it does help to actually move when we're in a state like that. So what I would encourage and recommend is just going for a walk, because physical movement forward gives the impression of action, of taking action, and actually just helps us calm down, right? But never, never at the expense of allowing the full experience of a particular emotion. And this is really what emotional mastery is about, because then it makes you so much more effective, so much more productive, so much more efficient, so much nicer to be around as a human being, right? Where you're not constantly just shooting from the hip. So again, emotional mastery is really just that. And there's so many different tools and practices. There's so many different ways to downregulate the nervous system, upregulate the nervous system, paying attention, processing, moving through emotion, integrating those emotions, learning from them, right? And a lot of the work that I do with my clients is really just that too. And then you can do all the other stuff like the nutrition and the movement and the exercise and the sleep and all that other fun stuff, because it's all important. But this you can't ignore, and this you can't not address. So I'm going to leave you guys with that. Something to do, something to practice, something to even just start to think about. Where in my life am I just constantly acting impulsively? Where am I not allowing certain things to be expressed, to move through me, right? And how can I get better at that? So guys, with that, wishing you a beautiful, beautiful day. Enjoy the rest of your week. And if I don't hear from you soon, have a very beautiful and happy Valentine's Day. Much love. Peace out.